Whew. Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Blue Sports Report, as well as my life. We have some interesting news and some crazy news. Isaiah Bond turned himself in, wide receiver from Texas, one of the prospects at wide receiver from the draft, for allegedly sexual assault. And hopefully these are just allegations and that's actually true. But it reminded me of the situation that happened with Lyle Collins, where police questioned him because an ex-girlfriend of his was shot and killed tragically. Turned out he had nothing to do with it, but he went undrafted, which literally cost him millions of dollars. And that's the situation here, exactly 2 weeks before the draft. You don't want to have a hiccup that's going to mess up your draft stock. Before I get to Overshown, no, I'll come back to it. I'm gonna get to Overshown now. Overshown, yesterday, the last couple of days have been the Overshown show. And when Overshown was talking about being comeback player of the year, I did a video. I do lots and lots of videos. Let's be clear here. I do lots of videos. And I was saying, when you talk about being comeback player of the year, I said, that sounds great. But if he comes back in the middle of the year and plays for half the season, I said that's not going to be enough. I said it would take him coming back a lot sooner than that and playing maybe 3/4 of the season and things to be that. And we've seen him for quite a while doing line dancing, and we're hearing that he's in the movement phase of his recovery. And I said, to me, I've been through an ACL. To me, I said, his recovery is going along really, really well. I pointed out how when RG3 messed up his knee in the playoffs, and they went through the whole we're all in and that he was going to be ready to start the season. I remember being at training camp and seeing him and saying, he ain't ready, and he wasn't to start the season. He wasn't anywhere close. He still had a hitch in his step, and you saw he still wasn't trusting it, and it proved to be 100% right. But you're not seeing, we're only seeing him walking around and stuff. But if you're walking around this well, and it's only early April, we're talking about, middle of May, middle of June, middle of July, middle of August, you're talking about almost 4 months of time to still be in Oxnard. 4 months is a long time to be rehabbing and strengthening the leg to be ready to start the season. And with Kay Adams, we saw a clip earlier, and I'm seeing some more clips of him now. One, he's being asked about, is Micah Parsons there? He's basically saying, I tell you what, you watch the clips and we'll come back and talk about it.
How are you feeling? Tell me.
I've been through it before, but this time it feels way easier. And, the mental side of it is really what I'm focusing on, because I know physically I'm going to be okay. Like I've dealt with the pain. I done dealt with, having to regain strength and stuff. But the problem most people have coming back off something like this is just having confidence that, that they're that guy that they was before. So, every day just coming here, being grateful for where I'm at, knowing that the best is yet to come for me.
When do you envision, manifest, and pray that you'll be back on the field?
Look, if you ask me, it's training camp. I'm strapping up my boots towards the end of the training camp. I'm flying around. Now we just, we being safe. It's a long game. This is one of the things that, as good as I feel, AP, 8 months warrior, come back, and have one of the greatest running back seasons ever. It's East Texas water. That's my guy. I got to talk to him about it. But, nowadays being young in my career, it's something that you don't want to rush. So, probably start off on the PUP list, but I'm not throwing away starting off at week 1. Like, I'm never throwing it out the door. That's something I'm working for. Yeah, I'm working for that. So best believe when I come in here every morning, like I'm looking at playing week 1. That's what I'm working towards. But I know we got professionals and trainers that's been doing this for 2 decades, 3 decades. So I'm definitely gonna trust what they got planned for me.
You're there at the facility working out. Is Micah there?
Micah, he's in and out. Yeah, I see Micah and we chop it up. He'll tell me about what's going on. But yeah, he's in and out.
What's going on?
Look, I'm out of the loop as much as you. Look, as much as we chit chat and stuff, man. It's just two brothers. We kind of leave the business and stuff out of it. I love to see him venturing off and doing what he's doing outside of the facility, because it's something that
You convinced Jerry to let you wear a 0 when he said he didn't want to. Are you helping Jerry get this Micah thing extended? Because that needs to happen before you get extended. Y'all need to come together and make this happen.
Look, I plan on playing with Micah for years to come. We both want the same thing, to retire Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I don't think, especially on this team, like we know what we got in Micah Parsons, and we don't want to see him in another uniform. So best believe every chance I get, I'm talking about our future together. To keep that mind, keep that thought running through his mind. Like, hey, we doing this for the long run. We got some ships to win here. So I'm putting it in there.
You heard him, right? You heard him talking about being ready for training camp to start the season, that he believes in our trainers and everything else. And I'm here's my conspiracy theory, if I have a conspiracy theory. Is that still a thing? Are people still do okay, I don't know. Okay, I'm always behind the times. Okay, see, listen, I'm old. I'm always behind the times. The Cowboys are having a major push for Overshown. Giving him the number. One, you give him the number. Okay, here's the thing. You give him the number, that's a motivating factor for him. When you heard him say that, at first, I thought I'd just be the number 0 coming out of college, but they made me earn it. And so he takes it as an honor getting the number 0 now, because he's the first one to have 0. Thank God he's no longer unlucky 13. But he's the first one to get that number, which is added incentive for him to want to perform and work hard and bust his ass. Now, he's been through this before, getting himself in shape. Now, he is probably going to go balls to the wall to do everything possible to get there. Now, maybe this is a case where, the Cowboys have the great doctors that can tell you that, yeah, when other people looked at Jalen Smith and said he may never play again, it was the Cowboys training staff and doctors that said, yeah, he could play again. He could play again, and he did. He did. He recovered from the dropped foot as much as possible, and he was able to play. And we've had, of course, our doctors where other players come in and get checked out by them and continue their careers. And this may be a case where the doctors are saying, we did an incredible job on this knee. Maybe this is a bionic knee or something like that. But Jerry, this thing's ahead of schedule. And that's why the Cowboys are releasing. There's no need to release the number. There was no need to release the number right now. That this is, look, we've got a major number change 2 weeks before the draft. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's a player who potentially could have missed all of next year. And potentially, at best, was looked at maybe the middle of the season. There was no reason to create the hype that has been created, because he's everywhere. He's everywhere right now. Now, we had the hype of Odigizua. We got his contract done. He did some appearances on NFL Network and Good Morning Football and things, and that was great. But he had just gotten paid, and you knew he was going to be there to start the season. That's where I said, if he's talking about being comeback player of the year, he's a lot further along than what you thought. And that's a great thing. That is an incredible thing if it does happen. And it would be an incredible boost to the Dallas Cowboys season for next year. So, maybe last year was the year that everything went wrong. And sometimes when the pendulum swings one way, it swings back. And maybe this year will be the year that swings back. That maybe, after Overshown getting knocked out after having such great flashes, that, the football gods have mercy on us and he comes back early. And maybe guys like Mozzie Smith keep on progressing and get better. Maybe Sam Williams, who people have forgotten about. Sam Williams, he's completely healed and supposedly looking really good. He's had, he'll have a whole year plus by the time the season starts to recover. And he's going to be hungry, and he's getting close to a contract year too. And he needs to perform to really make some hay. So maybe this year will be better than last year. Everybody, of course, is coming at me, and we're the redheaded stepchild of the NFL, and we're bottom feeder and all of that crazy crap. But I believe in these guys. I believe in these guys. I'm going to go to bed early tonight because I've got to be ready tomorrow morning for my dad's funeral. The viewing starts at 9:30 in the morning, and the funeral is at 10:30, and then we're having a private interment. The weather, they were calling for really heavy rain today, tonight, and into tomorrow. But so far, it's only been a little bit of a drizzle. And I'm hoping that drizzle it'll stay just a drizzle or hold off until after the internment. And then my mom, she doesn't want to have a get together, doesn't want to have the repast. She wants to be just at home with just us kids. So it's going to be a difficult day. It has been a hard week because we've got the obituary and we've got the eulogy. And I was trying to get my brother, or we were trying to get Greg to read it. He's like, I won't be able to do it. He said, it'll just be too emotional. And somehow they decided I'm going to read it. And you know how I am at reading things, guys. I am not good at reading things. I am Mr. Freestyle. But they also wanted me to do my dad's eulogy. And I have been all week trying to figure out exactly what to say, because this is the finality of my dad's life. This is the last chapter. And there's so many things and so many memories and so much about my dad. You guys got a chance to hear his voice a few times with the Bet US, and that was a blessing to be able to do that with my dad and to laugh and get mad about what the teams were doing and the joy of them winning and the agony of defeat. But there was so much more to my relationship with my dad. I realize that so many traits that I have are because of my dad. My dad is the type of person that would always say things like, I'll loan anybody $50. He'd say one or two things will happen. Either they'll give me my money back and I know I can trust them, he said, or they won't. And then I have to worry about them because they won't come around because they owe me money. But he's the kind of person that he was in the grocery store and there was a woman there who didn't have enough money to get a formula. And my dad told her, hey, you get what you need and I'll take care of it for you. And the funny thing is he said to my mom, he said, June, it was $47 for all the formula and stuff that she had to get. I didn't know it was going to be that much. But whenever we had a problem, first thing was always, what can I do to help? And my dad was always good with working with his hands from being a mail handler. He was so good at sorting mail that the post office ended up doing an instructional video with him as the trainer. He worked hard. He had jobs. He started working when he was 11 years old. And he saved up enough money to have a car in high school in the 1950s, y'all. The 50s. And I realized that doing things like going to Stuart Morrison or doing the community builds is because of what my dad taught me about looking out for others. As my sister said, my dad never met a stranger because nobody was ever a stranger to him because he always treated them like a person. He was always one of those people that believed in loving each other. And I am such a better person for having the dad that I had. The man that I always looked up to growing up. I will be continuing to look up to my dad. I always tell you guys, your life can change so quickly. Isaiah Bond, right now his life is turned upside down. Just like that. When it seemed like everything is going right. I always tell you, make sure you tell the people you love how much you love them because we only have so much time. And don't let the time run out without taking care of your business. Tell the people you love how much you love them. I love you guys. God willing, we'll all see each other tomorrow.